Hi everybody, welcome to, what is this, week 4 of Tech Tips? We were going to do flippers, but Ray brought down this thing. What is this, Ray?
It's a Hickok tube tester from the 50s. And it's what they used to use to test radio, television, and jukebox tubes.
Now, you were involved in the design of this piece before it came out?
No. This was what used to be state-of-the-art electronics in the day, when there were just tubes. It has a paper roll inside with all your tube type numbers over here, and you just roll to the right one and you make your settings. It covers probably a couple hundred tubes. How it all got started was we were going to list some speed control units for Seeburgs. We have a solid state one here, and it's a TASU2, and it's capable of making the jukebox play 33 1/3, and it controls the speed as well to 45s. This fit in probably the later Seeburgs, like the AQ160 and so forth. This was the earlier tube model that fit a few of the same models, only this is the tube version. They're pinned out and they're plugged the same way. You could actually use either one. And this one has tubes to control the speed. Does the same thing. This is an ASU one. It's the earlier version. What we were doing was just picking new stuff to list on eBay, and I thought this would be some neat stuff to put on there because I have several of these. And I got involved in testing the tubes because the 6L6GC is a rare tube. It's mostly for speed control. This is used in the jukebox amplifier. There's a pair of them, but they're not GCs. So the matched pair is not as accurate for amplification. You don't need the accuracy as you do for speed control. So what we got started here was I had a tube tester upstairs. Mike didn't believe me. And I thought I'd warm it up and use it. It's been a while since I played with it. I bought it some years ago, and I use it to test tubes occasionally. And this here was something to test it with, and that's what we're doing.
So you know how to use this thing?
Yes. Yeah. First, you
know, you're one of about 10 people left in the world.
Yeah.
That makes you great-granddaddy Ray.
Yeah, that's a shame. You get old.
Okay, well, show us what we're doing here.
Well, when you select...
Where's the USB port?
There is nothing like that.
That really is paper in there, huh?
Yes, it is. You go to your tube. In this case, it's a 6J6, which is designated on the tube, or 6L6, sorry. H-I-J-K-L. There it is, 6L6. 6L6, and then GC is underneath it. The GC designates, I guess, a higher quality tube than a regular 6L6 with no GC. But anyway, you put your tube in the correct socket, and it warms up. You set your dial to what the selectors and indicators tell you here, which is the selectors are here, and there's these knobs, and that's this JR53472, and then your filament voltages. That's pretty critical before you turn the machine on or press P4 actually, but your filament voltage has to be right or you'll burn the tube out because it goes up to 75 volts, and this runs at 6.3 volts.
Okay.
Yeah. So before you turn it on, you set your machine up. But you set it up according to the panel here, and then you find the appropriate test.
And what's this line voltage thing?
Well, line voltage is when you first turn the machine on, there's a adjust here. And you want it, because this thing is based on voltages for accuracy of test, you want to set your line voltage up first. That's right, Mike. So you know how to use this.
Yeah.
Line voltage is
I was briefed.
An indicator in the center, and you hold the line voltage down, and you use this dial to make it go back and forth.
Okay, so you're really, what you're doing is you're calibrating here
Preliminary, yes.
Because this it actually gives you a very accurate reading
Yes.
of what's going on.
Yeah, and the tube will show good, bad, or in the middle. I mean, they take a little bit to warm up, probably about a minute. You don't just put a cold tube in and hit the button and say, well, it's bad. You let it warm up, you hit your correct test button, which is P4, and it goes right up to good. And that's at the far end of good, so...
Okay, well, for the eBay listing, that is a tested good tube.
Correct. And you take it out and you put your next one in. This is the other GC tube. Where is it? 6L6 GC.
Yeah, I can barely see that.
Yeah, that's because it's...
There's a Seaberg marking on that thing.
That's correct. It's a Seaberg RCA. These were made for Seaberg by RCA.
Neat.
The reason for that marking is Seaberg wanted these to be a little more accurate for their jukeboxes, especially in speed control units. So they contracted RCA to make tubes for them. Higher quality tubes.
How in the world do you know that?
Well, I just found over the years information from jukebox guys. Currently, tubes made in Russia are still produced. Here's another tube that tests identical to that right there at the same mark. So this is a very good pair. Hard to find. Tubes are still currently made in Russia, but they're of low quality. They do work, but you won't get a good reading. You'll get maybe in the question mark area. And they waver when they warm up rather than stay solid. So if you're restoring a jukebox and it's important quality-wise, then you want to get an RCA or Sylvania tube.
Neat stuff.
Yeah, it is. This actually works fine. This is a Model 534 Hickok tube tester. And it's a nice piece of equipment. To last this many years, the quality of this in this, is pretty neat.
Well, most of our viewers, I think, are pinball guys. But
this is a different size.
Yeah, for the most part, pinball guys generally appreciate the auxiliary things like this, as long as they're your age.
Yeah, I go into a lot of game rooms and people are diverse anymore. They like a little bit of everything. I don't see that they're based on one device. I see interest based on all kinds of different devices. In fact, most of my game rooms have jukeboxes, a few videos, and pins. People have more interest in pins nowadays for a lot of reasons, but a lot of these other devices, they're still around. Shuffle alleys,
Yeah.
so forth. Thanks for watching the video. We always have something peculiarly interesting.
See you next week.
See you next week.
Hi, we hope you've enjoyed this video. If you haven't already subscribed, what are you waiting for? Want to know what's coming next? Go like us on Facebook right now. You can keep up to date with all of us here at the shop and what we've been up to. Thank you for watching.
Join the circus.